Signs.
Hi, welcome everyone who is still to join. Today on Bhakti Books, we're with Tarini Radhika. Say hi, Tarini. And in this session, this Saturday morning, like we have been doing every Saturday mid-morning, we're reading from books that are inclined into the philosophy of Bhakti or the art of divine love. And what book have you chosen today, Tarini?
So today I'll be reading from Open Eye Meditation
Let's
by Shubha Vilas, and I'll be reading his piece on the science of how to let go.
Shubha Vilas is really an amazing author. You know, like if you haven't heard of him, you should check out his Ramayan series. He's done these section of books on the Ramayan that helps you tap into the qualities and attributes that we can learn from directly in our lives through the stories. And then after this Ramayan series, he's come up with open-eyed meditations, right? Everyone's been talking about these books that he's been putting out, so we want to give you a taste. So yeah, go ahead.
So, the science of how to let go. Have you ever felt your past decisions affecting your personal growth? Or like a pilot taxiing around the runway trying to gather the guts to take off? Or maybe like a powerful bull helplessly tied to an imaginary pole? Yes? Then it's time to let go. The humans often latch onto opinions, positions, and principles like Velcro. Just like a complete castle can be built by arranging bamboos horizontally and vertically, so securely tied by ropes, individuals often enthrone themselves in illusionary fortresses of their own prejudices that apparently appear secure. 3 characters of the Mahabharata share this mindset. Dhritarashtra sought security in his position. Bhishma sought the same security in his principles. Drona sought his security with attachment to his son. The three oldest people in the Kuru dynasty exemplified the era of holding on to their coveted mindset, no matter how their decisions affected themselves or the people they were responsible for, or the society. Trees don't hold fruit and flowers beyond a certain point. They let go. Rivers don't hold water beyond a certain point. They let go to allow newer opinions to flow. Dark clouds don't store water beyond a certain capacity. They let go and in the process become white. Valuable books with termite infections have been burned to save a library. The Vedas recommend pouring of valuable butter into the fire of cooperative sacrifices. 3 young characters in the Mahabharata share the mindset to let go. The day he was born, Yudhisthira learned to let go from Pandu, his father. He even let go of his reverence to the principle of speaking the truth when the need arose. Parikshit let go of his position the moment destiny whispered a curse into his ears. Janamejaya let go of his attachment to his opinion of performing a snake sacrifice, and to eliminate every snake in the world when requested by the sages. When to let go, why to let go, where to let go, and how to let go is a matter of prudence. But the need to let go is a matter of common sense. If you are selfless, then it's easy to let go. But if you are selfish, then it's critically important to let go. The first installment that is deposited into your account for investing is in the Let Go fund is mental peace. Mental peace automatically restores one's ability to see clearly. Clear vision helps you spot newer opportunities that had otherwise blurred when seen from with a disturbed mind. When Yudhisthira let go of his principle of speaking the truth, he learned that the real meaning of truth is to cause greater good and not just to feel good. When Parikshit let go of his fleeting temporary position in the transient earthly realms, he saw a newer opportunity to receive a permanent placement in the eternal spiritual realms. When Janamejaya let go of his opinion to continue the snake sacrifice, he could clearly see that anger had blinded him. The second installment that is deposited into your account for investing in the Let Go fund is freedom from fear. Fear is the outcome of resisting change that challenges what you got the most. To the degree one is willing to let go, to that degree fear loses its power. When finally Bhishma was forced to let go, he realized that he was holding on to the thorny tree of principles for the security it provided. But in actuality, those principles bled him every day of his life. When Jonah was tricked to let go, perhaps the first time in his life he breathed freely, as attachment to his son could give him pain no more. When Dhritarashtra was inspired by Vidura to let go, he realized that the throne of Hastinapura had not elevated him to a king, but chained him like a dog. When you let go at the right time, in the right way, and in the right mood, you blossom internally and are honored externally. When you don't let go at the right time, in the right way, and in the right mood, you shrivel into self-pity internally and defend yourself like a lone knight externally. Our nature is to hold on steadfastly to our opinions, principles, or position, no matter what. Unlike us, Mother Nature lets go magnanimously. Trees don't hold fruits and flowers beyond a certain point. Neither do rivers hold water beyond a certain point. Letting go is characteristic of the selfless. The moment you let go, you experience profound peace of mind and freedom from fear. To the degree one is willing to let go, to that degree fear loses its power. Letting go at the right time, in the right mood, allows you to blossom without hindrance. Either that or you shrivel in self-pity.
Great, thank you. We're on the Bhakti Yoga Instagram page, right?
Yes.
And I found when you read that there's so many wow points that come up, like epiphanies, like mental epiphanies that come up with just every single line that he writes. He's such a powerful writer and so very relevant. Yes. So what did you feel stuck out for you when you were reading it?
What stuck out for me was the story of Dhritarashtra. He was a prince that was born blind, and he was the eldest son, so he was entitled to be the next king of his kingdom. Um, but because he was blind, he couldn't be the king. So the next in line to the throne was his brother. But when his brother died and left the kingdom to his sons, Dhritarashtra refused to give the kingdom to his sons because he was holding on to the idea that he was supposed to be king, and also pass it on to his sons that the kingdom belongs to their line of the family.
So you mean like he didn't want the kingdom to go to his nephews? No,
yes.
He wanted it for his own sons.
Yes. So his refusal to let go of the kingdom at any cost led him to want to attempt to kill his nephews and to cause a war that killed millions and millions of people. And still, after the war, he still refused to let go, to the point where he let go of his own principles of by still being taken care of by the same people who he tried to kill. So his refusal to let go led him to lose a lot of his dignity, and caused him to do hurt so much people and make so horrible decisions.
What did Dhritarashtra really have to let go of?
His possessiveness over the kingdom, his entitlement that it's his rightful place to be king. And it kind of reminds me of how so many times we believe that something is entitled to us, like respect or position or or anything,
or a life, the way life should go.
Yeah, exactly. Especially how life should go. That we're entitled to have good things, and we're entitled to get success and all sorts of things, but it doesn't always happen like that. And when it doesn't, and when things don't go as we planned or as we desired, and then we become very bitter about it, and we become very hurt about it, hurt and bitter.
I was thinking that with Dhritarashtra, and he being born blind, he would have always had this sort of inadequacy, that because of this defect, my destiny is being hampered, and so therefore there was this extra drive in him of wanting the kingdom, because I would assume that to fulfill that inner lacking, that he was not enough to be a king, which of course he would have gotten from the day he was born. It would have been rubbed in his face, even if people were subtle about it. It would have always been that you were not good enough to get that kingdom, and so that drive to actually hold on to that kingdom, I see it as also a sense of just, if I had the kingdom I had worth, to the degree, like you said, in the end, where he had no dignity and he was eating from the plates of those who had murdered his son, and so on one hand you're right, he let millions of people suffer and die, and on the other hand, he lost even his own principles. It was just this kind of sad story of what can happen, when you don't let go.
Yes.
I thought it was really beautiful in the reading of those descriptions in nature.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
It's also that part reminds me of how we treat nature so badly. Like so much going on in the world where animals suffer and different aspects of nature like trees and plants are getting extinct and animals. But she still looks after us. There's still food. There's still it's okay. She still provides us with food and water, and she still looks after us. We still use her resources, and she still gives. Like, yes, there are issues like the coronavirus and there are some places where people are suffering with resources or food or something like that, but like for the most part Mother Nature still gives so much to us, even though like she lets go of this she's not attached to this idea of, oh, but these humans are horrible. And yeah, she still gives.
This vision of Mother Nature, you know, in the Vedic texts and sacred texts, she's referred to as Bhumi, and as a personality, and like you're saying, so magnanimous, because that's the word that was said in this text, right?
Yes.
She said, Shubha Vilas said that how to magnanimously let go, because it's one thing to like, you know, kicking and screaming and biting on, you know, you're like, I'm gonna let go, you know. But it's another thing to just magnanimously let go, you know. And those examples that he gave, like of the tree, it let goes of the fruits when it's season. And what happens if a tree doesn't let go of its fruits? It's just gonna rot, you know, it just rots. But if you let go, it's given, it has purpose. And what was the other examples?
The river.
The river.
The river doesn't hold water.
Yeah.
To a certain point.
Yeah, it has to let go. It has to let it flow. It has to move to the ocean. And the last one was the tree, the clouds.
Yes.
Right. And when the clouds sort of fill up with all this water, darkened, and that's how we become. You know, we become dark with the things that we refuse to let go of. And when we let it go, it's so much more lighter, right?
Yes.
There's lightness, there's joy. But when we can let it go, like rainfall, those examples were just so beautiful. It makes me think that letting go is a joyous process, even though it's not easy.
Yes, and he does mention quite a bit how the attachments or the refusal to let go kind of binds us, like, and he uses all these analogies like or he uses all these analogies like the bull helplessly tied to an imaginary pole, or something else, or how Dhritarashtra was chained like a dog and
to the kingdom. Yeah. That line where he said, the kingdom didn't elevate Dhritarashtra to the level of a king. It chained him like a dog. It was like, how?
Yeah.
You know.
So, yeah, he speaks a lot about how not letting go is such a dark journey. And, but when we let go, we see things much clearer.
Did you have any sort of personal experiences on what it sort of on this idea of letting go? I mean, I'm sure you did something that, like, why did you choose this section? Why did it resonate with you?
Yes, this past 2 years over the past few years for me has been lessons of letting go of places, letting go of people, letting go of ideas of how people should treat how I should be treated. Just letting go of ideas of how life should be. And yeah, I do find that once I learned how to let go, though I am still learning how to let go, but once I do let go, things do turn out to be much better than I had originally planned. And it also feels much lighter to let go. Even letting go of certain things, like things that happen during day-to-day life. Not being mental about not being fixated on the tiny details. How things should be.
Yeah. It's you know, I was just interested in the points that he brought up of what to let go of. And in the case of Dhritarashtra, what did he say? I know in the case of Bhishma, he said it was principles. Principles, and then in one case it was of people, and with Dhritarashtra it was more of possessions, like the kingdom. And so that, like those three levels, you know, we can be attached to things, we can be attached to ideals, principles, we can be attached to other people, and it's this attachment. And he says it like Velcro, you know. And I really like this analogy because you can feel it, like, you know, two pieces of Velcro, and then it's like, you know, and it's just, you can relate to that's what it takes to. And the things that you're pulling apart is me from this principle, and me from this person, and me from this thing, you know. And so therefore I thought it was so very powerful. Whereas you were saying that, you know, your experience of letting go is linked to people and places. I feel my experience of letting go is linked a lot to certain principles. And when I say principles, it's not necessarily like value systems, because it can be where you have to let go of a certain type of value system to either raise to a higher value system or to refine a value system. But I also feel unhealthy thinking, you know, it becomes our principle. It becomes a thing that we reinforce our life with. And I find that tough, you know, to let go of the negative mindset, to let go of all the things that I've taught myself without even knowing I've taught it to myself, you know. So I think that also requires a level of letting go. Would you say? Can you relate?
Sometimes when you learn to let go of the things or the people or whatever, it takes like a mental shift of mindset. It takes like really reframing your mind or thinking of things in a different way. To be able to be comfortable with the idea of letting go, or to actually take that step to let go.
It's also that I'm thinking that when we let go, we also have to let in something, you know, because like the trees that what was it, that point that he made? It said that by letting go, you achieve the installments in the bank account, is that you achieve peace of mind and you achieve clarity of thought to see the opportunity.
Yes.
You know, to see the opportunity. And that's the problem, right? When I get stuck in something that I can't let go of, whether it's a thing, whether it's a person, whether it's a principle, then I'm not peaceful, you know, I'm not clear, and I can't see the opportunities that are in front of me. You know, I just, it's right there, but I can't see it, you know. Can you relate?
Yes.
Yeah, I just...
Yes, because like I said earlier about noticing how as soon as I let go, or as soon as we let go of things, and then things just come, or we see things much more clearer. We see we just see life more clearer. We see that the things that we have been looking for were there all the time, or that we are capable of achieving more, or that we are capable of things that we never thought that we were capable of before.
And I think I also learned the lesson that by letting go of a certain thing, I'm not gonna die without it.
Yeah.
You know, because there's this feeling like when you rip that Velcro off, I'm just gonna bleed, and then it's gonna be gruesome, and you're gonna die. Like, you know, that's the feeling, you know. But then the Velcro comes up. It's like a plaster. Like, you know, it's like ripping a plaster that's trying to protect a wound. Like, you know, and you think it's like you're not gonna die from it, right? But it's painful, and then but then that feeling of when it comes off, there's oh, okay, I actually can go through this. I'm alive. It's happening. You know, it's not unbearable.
Sometimes the wound just needs air.
Exactly. Sometimes the wounds just need air. That's a good point.
At the end of the story of Dhritarashtra, he actually starts going within and it liberates him not only from his attachment but also from the reactions of everything that he did in his life, because he started focusing more on his soul and
He started focusing more on his soul. Yeah.
Yes, he started working more on his soul, and it liberated him also from the reactions of all the horrible things that he's done in his life. And he eventually found peace.
Yeah.
When he let go.
It seems the longer we take to let go, the harder the lesson is. You know, like if Dhritarashtra learned to, if somehow, you know, at birth, if he was able to accept the blindness, you know, of course that's not an easy thing, you know, then that craving wouldn't have been there to keep filling it in with something. And if he let go at the point when Duryodhana, when his son was born, or if he let go at the point when Krishna said, don't fight the war, and, you know, like, so there were so many opportunities come to let go, but the more we refuse each opportunity, the harder it becomes to eventually let go. And then in the end it may even be a forced let go, you know. Yes. where now it's like it's not in your control anymore that you want to stay with this thing, person or principle. It's just ripped from you, you know. And that's like when someone like rips up the plaster, like, you know, it's not by your own willingness you're doing it. Like, you know, when you do it, it's like bit by bit by bit, like, okay, we'll do it painlessly. But, you know, when we refuse a sign of you need to let go of this thing, person or principle, then it gets ripped off, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, we see that with Duryodhana also. There were some examples of people who did let go. Like, you know, Duryodhana was an example of someone who didn't let go. There were some examples of people who did let go. Did any of them appeal to you?
Parikshit Maharaj.
Me too.
It's so amazing how he was the one who was given a short time to live, like 7 days, and he just gave up everything.
He was cursed, right?
Yes.
He was cursed, and it was given such that he would die in 7 days' time. And he was the king of the world, right? Yes. And what did he do?
He gave up everything to go work on his to prepare for his afterlife. He started meditating on Krishna.
Yeah, it's like letting go. It's like this point that I mean, he chooses to let go. It would have been very easy to be like, why did I get cursed? I'm at the prime of my life. You know, how could you just tell me that I'm going to die in 7 days? Is there any way, because he was going to die by the bite of a snake bird, right? Is there any way we can cage all the snake birds in the universe, you know, and not let them come near me? Like, he didn't fight destiny, you know, he really didn't fight destiny. And somehow I think that it must have been in the way he lived his life, you know, that when the call came, now you have to let go, he was like, you know, I think that's
so interesting how not only that, knowing like when you're gonna die, but how you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go through such an existential crisis, and it's such, it must, well, I can imagine that it must be such a difficult thing. But for him, he just accepted it.
Yeah. It's something we don't think about, we don't like to talk about much, you know, the whole death thing, but then to look at it as a letting go, you know, letting go and letting something new blossom, like, you know, with the whole idea of reincarnation, out with the old and in with the new, like a breath of fresh air, like the water flowing to the ocean, like a tree that's, you know, giving room for more fruit. To look at it in that sense is pretty refreshing.
Yes.
Well, I don't know, is there anything else we'd like to add? I don't know if our viewers here would like to share something or say something. You can always tell us about your experience of letting go or not letting go on our Instagram chat or on this live feed. It's been so awesome to spend time with you this Saturday. Thank you, Tarini, especially for sharing this piece, because it was so powerful.
It was a pleasure being with you guys too, and doing this reading too.
Yeah, so you can keep an eye out for Open-Eyed Meditations by Shubha Vilas. Practical wisdom for everyday life. And he's also the author of the Game of Life series, which is based on the Ramayana. Don't forget to catch us. You can catch us tomorrow, Sunday at 7 o'clock. We're going to be doing our Bhakti Jani session with Subal, who is from Nigeria. And we're going to be finding out what's Bhakti like there, what's their Bhakti sessions like, and it's going to be pretty cool, interesting. Like, I want to know, like, you know, what's happening out there in Nigeria in terms of Bhakti Yoga. So, yeah, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow.